No, I mean, I think the only thing that was really out of the ordinary was having 3 meets in 7 days early on like this. It's not that unusual. We've done it in years past where you have 3 meets in 8 days or something along those lines. But, you know, now we're able to get back into kind of a normal cadence of how we train in between competitions and things of that nature. So I'm just glad we're past it. I'm glad, you know, we went through a lot in the process that was unanticipated, but just glad to be back into a kind of a normal rhythm, or getting into one now.
Yeah, you talked a lot about the mental fatigue and even physical fatigue for this team. What do you think? We kind of rebounded, got the feeling of it?
Well, I felt better. I mean, I kind of go, I know that whatever I feel, they're probably feeling double. So when I'm tired from those road trips, I can only imagine where they are. And so I kind of gauge their rest on, you know, on that. I felt better, and everybody came in the gym yesterday. The reports we got from Jenny and from them as they came in, they were like, we feel pretty good. And so I think so. I think lack of travel over the weekend helps that. And so, yeah, I think we're getting back to a kind of a place of homeostasis or whatever, you know, and just kind of leveling out a little bit from an emotional standpoint, and moving forward after all the drama of the last couple of weeks.
Homeostasis.
Yeah, it's a good word. It's a good word. Equilibrium, maybe, if you will.
I was going to say new normal, but I know everybody hates it.
Yeah.
Reed, you got anything?
How did it feel? Pick up your first win. We talked last week.
Yeah.
How you kind of needed to get over that hump. So how did it feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. It's nice to get the win. I was a little disappointed in the way that, you know, we weren't able to put all 4 events together. But we did enough to get a conference win against a very solid team. That team finished 5th in the country last year and returned everyone. So, you know, it felt good. I think we certainly know where we can improve, and again, I looked back on it and thought, well, maybe, you know, it had a little bit to do with the emotional and mental drain that had kind of gotten all over us for several days, but a little bit of fatigue, and then there's growth that has to happen too. You know, you guys were talking to Aaliyah. She's got to be allowed to grow into this role. And I said that after the meet too. We've got to be patient and allow her to. It's a big deal. Doing 4 events is entirely different animal than doing 3. If you talk to gymnasts, the mental load that it takes on them, it just is different. And a lot of them have had to go through that growth. Haley went through that growth. Her sister Sarah, the first year we tried to make her an all-arounder, she would make a mistake some place or another, and we couldn't figure it out. We keep having to pull back and go to 3 events. We don't have the luxury of pulling Aaliyah out of an event right now, so she's still got to be able to do that. But we've got to be patient and let her grow into that role and get more and more comfortable. And she is. She's improving as she goes.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Aaliyah, those little missteps. Can you attribute it to something?
You know, I thought I saw a little fatigue in all of them in the Missouri meet. It may have had something to do with that. It may have been, you know, if you look at it, the mistakes have moved, and they're on one event or they're on another, and then it changes week to week, and that usually means that it's not a physical thing. It's a you know, it's between the ears in a lot of cases, and you just have to. Yeah, they got to be battle tested and go through that process, and it's not out of character at all. It's a normal thing for a lot of athletes to go through, and when you look at what we've done so far on the whole, it's really not out of line with very many years in recent past. It's just I think it feels different because we lost one of our stars, and you know it feels different. But when you look at the scoring, the way our scoring is tracking, it's not all that out of line with a lot of years around here at LSU. So,
what's impressed you most about her this year?
Aaliyah,
Yeah.
Just her enthusiasm for the new role that she has, and her you can see her growing into a leader, and the things that she says, and the way she's trying to go about her business. She's very serious about being better, but she's not doing so at the expense of that gregarious, awesome personality that she has, that she just exudes when she performs and draws people in. But she's working hard. She's embraced a lot of change. She's doing some new skills that she hadn't done very much in the past, and has really embraced the role that she's now playing. That's the biggest thing, is that her presence has grown, not just the gymnastics role, but her overall presence when she's in the room and when we're in there together. You know she's there, and that's just good. And that's good as part of the maturation process, I guess.
How impressed are you with the way that Tori Tatum has stepped up?
Awesome.
These last 2 weeks?
Awesome, and I hope it's been a shot in the arm for her, so that she knows she can bring that level of execution into the gym every day. The only thing that had prevented her from getting into the lineups was consistency in training. Like, she would show us flashes of that, but we didn't see it all the time. And I'd wanted her to show that for quite some time. So I think it's been a real good motivator for her. She's gotten in there and done well, and increased her score week over week. And it's not even about the score. The execution of the routine that she did on Friday was better than the one she did on Monday. I would argue it was better than a quarter of a tenth better, but that doesn't mean that, the judges were out of line. It just means that I think, based on her capability, it was significantly better on Friday than it was on Monday. So, Tori's an accomplished athlete. She's a great competitor. Her coaches in club would tell you that she's a much better competitor than she is a practicer. And that's the biggest thing for us, is if we can get her to understand the value of what she does day in and day out, and how that'll help transfer into her performance continuing to get better and grow. She has a beautiful vault on the day that it's on. She's got a tremendous Yurchenko 1.5. But we don't see it every day. We don't see it, we see it on days when she feels really good, and then there's days where it's not there. And so my hope is that the successes that she's feeling on bars now will then begin to kind of translate, and we'll start to see more of that in other places, because I really believe in her as a competitor.
Should we expect to see any more changes in the lineup this upcoming week in Arkansas?
Well, there's not a lot. There's not a lot to be had at this point, until we don't have a lot of extra routines laying around to pull from right now. We're getting Bryce back. Bryce is back. She did beam yesterday, no further adverse reactions, so she's full go today for the first time. I don't know that means we put her in this week. I think we probably need to kind of bring her along a little more slowly and get her confidence level back up, but that certainly will help. We're still probably 2 weeks out maybe before we really know whether, what Olivia's prognosis is on the stress. They're kind of tricky, and all you can do is try to push the doctors to look at it more times and make sure that they're staying on top of what it looks like. But that'll be a big shot in the arm when we can get her back on both bars and floor. She was ready on both and fully anticipated using her this past week, and then weren't able to do it. So those two will be very big to get back into the mix. But right now we got what we got, and Chase is gone in spots, and Sierra's done a good job for us on balance beam. We just gotta keep plugging.
Are you seeing anything repeatable in Chase's miscues?
Yeah, I think hers is just experience. I think those are first-time competitor kind of mistakes. You go real big on the first pass, and then you try to overcorrect and go real easy on the second pass, and we just need to find that middle ground and get her comfortable. She corrected the mistake from the first time she went out, and she hit her last pass. And the vault was a good vault. Her Yurchenko 1.5 is a good solid vault for us. She hasn't done enough she sticks them all the time in here. That's going to happen at some point. But you gotta let them grow, and sometimes you go through these years where patience is the key. Every year has its own formula. If it was easy to duplicate year over year, what would be the challenge in doing any of this? So it's a different year for us. We've taken some lumps. We may still take some more, and you certainly don't want that to happen. But we've got to be patient and let this team grow into its identity and who they are. And you know, I believe in this group. I think that, you know, given the chance, and if we don't have any major setbacks, that we can make some noise in March and April for sure.
You talked about Haley and Leah's importance to your lineups. Do you try to squeeze them some rest in during the week?
Well, I'd love to, but again, it goes back to where do we do that, and who do we, you know, there's just not bodies right now. I'd love to be able to find a place, but you know, there's also no easy outs on our schedule at this point. You know, we go to Arkansas this week, we go home for Georgia, and then I think we go to Alabama, and then we got Florida. So I mean, it's like, you know, you're in the meat of the SEC schedule, and you could, if you had the luxury of doing that, you could do it, but you would do it knowing that you were risking, you know, a potential lower score or a loss. So we have to. But again, right now I don't even have that option. I don't really have much option. I can give them the rest during the week. We come back from Arkansas, they're getting 2 days, nothing. You know, that's where I'll be able to give them the rest. But I won't. I probably can't pull them out of meets right now.
When you're talking about putting new people in and having to let them kind of work through things on competition days, have you noticed anything from like Cammy or Kaya in practice, trying to talk them through
Yeah.
how to be ready for those moments?
Yeah, I mean, those two are as much part of the heartbeat of this group as they were when they were going. I mean, they just, you know, Cammy's just, I've said it a lot, she's just such a bright light of a person, and just influences everybody, just raises everybody else up around her. She's just that kind of person. She's like a virtue magnet, man. She just brings out the best in every person that is around her, and works hard at it, and wants and relishes that role, and wants to be a positive impact on everything we've got going. Kaya's been sick since the surgery. I think the pain meds got her. She came back in the gym yesterday. It's the first we had really seen much of her. But again, same kind of individual that they look to and they rely on for that calmness and the comfort that, hey, we're going to be okay. Let's just, you know, keep going. So, yeah, I mean, they're both just great. And I can't imagine not having either one of them.
So, given all the injuries, what have you learned about the depth of your team? Is it fair to say that the depth has been tested so far?
Yeah, it has. We didn't have as much depth going into this year as we did previous years. You guys heard me say that when we were coming along. So it's obviously been tested, and you know, there's not a lot of depth left. There's a couple. I mean, you know, if we had to go one deeper or 2 deeper in spots, we could. But you know, I've just been proud of the kids that have gotten the opportunity to step in, and they've taken advantage of it, and they've done a good job. I know there's been mistakes, but I believe that, you know, they'll level those things out, and some of that comes with experience. A lot of them are, you know, going in for the first time, so they might as well be freshmen going for the first time in areas that they have not had the experience. And you know, I think about Sierra in particular on beam. You know, that's been tremendous. Elena on, you know, taking up the mantle on 3 events, and is next up on floor if we need her to go, and is doing a good job. And you know, sometimes it takes them by surprise, but they've done a good job being prepared overall.
Coach, we've heard a little bit about the extra security measures y'all have taken at meets, but we recently heard reports that Libby Dunn didn't feel safe attending class in person. Can you say anything about
No.
what safety measures are being taken here at home?
You know, those reports, I don't know where that comes from. I think her overall increased, whatever you call it, you know, the increased awareness of Olivia has created just a general unsettledness when she's out in public alone. I don't think it's whether it's here or anywhere else. But I think, you know, as far as our security here at facilities and in the PMAC for our events, we feel good about what we have.